Sky Cubby here, founder of Medicinal Foods, and I'm here with Bob Greska, the creator of Carbon-60. Welcome, Bob.
Hi, Sky. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited about this because I tried a lot of C-60 in the past and just didn't really experience much. And I met you at the Conscious Life Expo, and that was the first time I actually felt the C-60 work. I felt this calm, peaceful feeling, which I just kind of blew it off. And then I found out since then people have that kind of experience. This really made an impact on me. I mean, here is your Carbon-60, and it's actually 1/4 the size, 1/4 the amount, and making it 4,000 times the surface area. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to let you explain it. But first, I'm just going to give a little bit of background on you, because you have an amazing background in specifically carbon. Your experience with mechanical engineering at UMass, and then a year working with your mentor who developed fiber optics, and a year out of college, you had you worked in aerospace and actually focused on carbon fiber, graphite epoxy, and developed those tiles or billets, I guess they're called, that are on the space shuttle, Columbia. So you have quite the background in space, working with NASA with these the space defense for spacecraft, and founded your engineering innovations back in 1990. But I guess those innovations took you into this modern day kind of world of graphite and Kevlar, and worked with a whole bunch of different products. But what I'm most excited about is, in Medicinal Foods, we talk about the ancient future of food. And so we like to be on the cutting edge of health and wellness. And we're going to talk nano, because we have a lot of our audience knows that we use the nanoparticle or micronized medicinal mushrooms in our chocolate.
It's interesting, the ancient future. Carbon-60 has been around forever. It just that nobody knew it was there. I mean, in the old candles, candle flames, the soot coming off of there, the end of that candle flame, there's Carbon-60 particles there, but very, very few of them.
Huh.
It's found in intergalactic space, and I think it's from the explosion of the sun, the solar flares, and it just shoots it out into space. It has so little mass, the gravity doesn't pull it back, and it's found way between planets and galaxies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's bad nanotech out there, like the stuff they put in our vaccines, right?
Well, it all depends what material it is. It does, some of it has to do with size and shape too. Like ours are nice round spheres. If you looked on a website there, you can see that when you zoom in closer, they are round, almost identical size spheres throughout the whole thing, and they're perfectly round. Where you look at these other Carbon-60s, they're more crystal and they're jagged. They're like knives, and they're not very compatible to your body. There's three things that we have: is the the shape, the size, the surface charge, and the purity. Those are four things that we have.
We got Sam here, and he was just spinning around the beaker there. And I asked him, is that the Carbon-60? So that's how fine it is. It almost makes a cloud.
Yeah, it's very fine. It's like one of those Christmas globes that you have. It goes up there and it floats in the air. I mean, you can see it almost turns the whole thing black when I'm shaking it.
Wow. So that's why you put it in the oil, because if you tried to just have that out, it would just go everywhere.
Yeah, it would disperse in the room. It's difficult to handle. You get a couple specks of that on the desk here. I mean, it'll cover the whole surface.
Going back to this slide here, being a product that is just hands down beyond the competition, I'd like you to just explain a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Well, what we're looking at is test tubes of Carbon-60. And you see number 2, 3, and number 5 test tube there. Those are a gram of Carbon-60, and that's as we purchase them from the various vendors around the world. And we have a gram of our Carbon-60 powder in that full test tube. It has a much lower bulk density. It's much finer in size. But in these other test tubes, 2, 3, and 5, all the carbon-60 is aggregated together into clusters. So they're denser and they're stuck together. Ours are free and independent. They're of the nano size, where the other ones are of the macros, micro size. So they're much, much bigger, 4,000 times about in size. If you look at the transmission electron microscope pictures we have on our website, you can look at those and compare and take your own guess at how big they are, but we approximate about 4,000 times.
All right, well, we'll flash those up here. What your product is a carbon that it's so much smaller, so there's so much more surface area, right?
Yeah, correct. As you go down in size, your surface area goes up tremendously. You could just imagine like a basketball. Yeah, it has about 2 square feet, let's say, just approximate on either side of it. If you fill that full of BBs, the inside, so the first layer of BBs would have 2 square feet of surface area. But then there's the inside of that, and then the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer. So if you go down in size, your surface area goes up tremendously. I mean, exponentially. And that's how, being much, much smaller, the surface area goes up, so they're much more bioavailable. And also the carbon-60 works basically off of electrons. So the small electron charges, those plus and minus little pulls, they're not going to pull something very heavy, something large. They work much better with the finer the particle size, the more significant that those atomic attractions are.
And that is what the giving up or receiving of electrons is, the essence of free radical scavenging, and what makes it such a powerful antioxidant, yeah?
Exactly. It donates electrons to free radicals to stabilize them. So it stops the oxidative stress, which is a chain reaction of one free radical stealing a molecule from an electron from another, electron from another, electron from another. That disrupts the cell, and so it prohibits that from happening by sharing an electron. It also, toxins come in your body. Toxins are electron stealers. They enter your body and they steal electrons off molecules in your body, and then they don't function. They don't know what they are anymore because they're missing an electron. So the carbon will also neutralize toxins by giving an electron to the toxin, so it does not steal one off your molecule. So it works basically in 2 ways. There's actually more ways it works, but in layman's terms, that's about how it works.
Well, our audience is familiar with Patrick Flanagan's work with the hydrogen, the megahydrate. And one of the reasons it works so well is because it's also nano-sized and it penetrates every part of the body. Is that a similar, do you find that the carbon's able to enter through all the nooks and crannies of the body and do its antioxidant mechanisms?
Yes, and it may very well have a lot to do with generating that hydrogen.
Wow.
Yeah, because if you look at anode and cathode materials, and if you put carbon in with some of the minerals in your body, you do have electrolysis going on. And electrolysis, the voltage generator, separates the water into hydrogen. So we believe possibly that it's actually making atomic hydrogen for your body.
You actually did some pioneering work with, was it hydrogen generators or separating out hydrogen in water?
About 7 years, I built hundreds of electrolysis machines that actually, we split water to 1 degree or another. We either completely separated it into Brown's gas, which is O and OH, or we just alkalinized the water, just added more, basically, increasing the pH to it by not breaking the bond, but stimulating the bond enough to increase the alkalinity of the water. Yeah, I've done quite a bit.
Did you ever create a hydrogen generator for powering an engine?
We added hydrogen to engines.
To give it a boost?
Excuse me. We did add hydrogen to engines. The small amount of it really makes the gasoline burn a lot better. It's like having like a million spark plugs inside your engine, because the hydrogen burns first and then it ignites the gas, so your burn rate is very much shortened. Instead of going through the whole compression, the whole cylinder head in a compression cylinder, you shorten up that rate and you burn everything much more cleaner. We brought it down to emissions testing and to burn clean. But the trouble is that there's so many computers on the cars right now that you can't, they see you getting more gas mileage, they'll turn up the fuel, so they dump more gas in. So it's kind of hard.
I tried doing a little hydrogen assist on my Land Cruiser, my old like FJ60, but carbureted. It's so powerful that so smoky and crude that it didn't do much. And then the O2 sensors in my newer vehicle were going off, and that wasn't working. But bringing it back to the body, inside the actual cell, in the Krebs cycle or the mitochondrial function, is there a place in there that it can actually get in and help maybe create some energy?
Well, the beauty of the carbon-60 molecule, antioxidants work on the mitochondrial level, but they're much larger in size. The carbon-60 is 4,000 times smaller than the antioxidants you find in food. So it's a much smaller molecule. So it's much more bioavailable, works right at the mitochondrial level. And that's where most of your free radicals are generated, right at the mitochondria. So it works at that level, it eliminates them, and helps with aging and things like that, because that's what causes aging in cells, is an abundance of free radicals. So if we can slow that process down, you can essentially slow down aging, so to speak.
Your motto is 50 is the new 70. And so you've noticed some anti-aging effects. And, I'm curious, what was that I felt that then I read people's testimonials, this like peace and calming? I mean, is it doing something immediately at an electrical level? Like, what do you think I was feeling there?
Well, yeah, I think it works immediately. It's just like putting magnets close to each other. They're going to stick immediately. And that's what happens when you have these, the small plus and minus charges of the electrons. And so if you get rid of these toxins, you get rid of these free radicals, your body functions better. You're working on all 8 cylinders instead of 7 cylinders. So you have a much better, better function of your body. It works incredible. We have, results, testimonies, from all over, from anything, you name it. It's amazing. Most health issues are caused by free radicals. So if you get rid of the free radicals, those health issues are diminished or go away completely in short order.
So carbon works both absorbing and adsorbing the toxin. So it surrounds it and actually escorts it out. Does it work similarly? And have you found that it can help escort out heavy metals as well?
Well, people with heavy metals have noticed some improvements, but carbon-60 works a little different than, like you're talking about, activated charcoal,
right,
that adsorbs and absorbs the toxins. This actually neutralizes the toxins by giving it an electron or sharing an electron with it. So it works a little bit differently than adsorbing or absorbing toxins.
It must have a really powerful antiviral and antipathogenic effect if it's working on that electrical field level at the frequency, right?
We believe it is. Yeah, we believe it is. Yeah.
We work with this nano silver product that, there's bad nano and there's good nano, but as far as that particle size and that rapid fire concept of stealing the electron, they've done a lot of tests where it kills every single pathogen ever tested. So I definitely encourage you to do some human trial studies and invest some money into finding out exactly what this stuff could be doing, things that, I know we can't make any medical claims as far as like things like, with different coronaviruses and such, but I bet you'd have some fantastic results. I mean, do you ever get sick?
Occasionally, yeah, I get sick. Not very often. Not since I've been taking the carbon-60. I've probably taken it longer than most anybody. I've been on it for about 8 years. When I was initially exposed to it, when I was working in my laboratory, we were making the carbon-60 for another purpose, for an automotive engine oil lubricant additive. And, I'm there tweaking in the lab, working away all day. And, I'm that kind of guy that doesn't go out for lunch. You just sit there and work. And so I was exposed to all this dust that filled the room with all this black. When I opened the door, I could see the whole room was full of this, and I was breathing it for 6 or 8 hours. So I got a mega dose, probably 100 to 1,000 times, servings of it, quite a bit of it. I felt a total cleansing through my body, no negative effects. Yeah, I've been taking it ever since. We tested different oils out, which one has a better suspension of the Carbon-60. Since ours are nano size, which is a billionth of a meter, which is a nanometer, there's about 100,000 nanometers in the width of your hair. So they're small. And I know your audience knows what they are. So
well,
they're very,
some
very
do,
tiny.
some don't. But because it's so small, it can actually, if you rub it on your skin, it can absorb, and it can have some really great effects on the skin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 250,000 times smaller than a red blood cell. So that puts it in perspective, 250,000 times. And
so
we have.
I know we were talking yesterday, and you were saying that people rub it on like their age spots, or if you have inflammation or irritation on the skin, it can help. And people rub it on there. How far does it actually penetrate into the skin?
Well, quite a ways. It'll seek out. I mean, if you put it on topically, people have a chronic joint pain in their hands as they get older. They put it on topically, and about a minute later, they'll go, "Oh my gosh, it feels great. The pain's gone away." People put it on. You can put it on. I had age spots on the back of my hand. I don't anymore. I got a few scars, but I had some age spots on the back of my hand. I put it on there twice, 2 different times, about a week apart, and that was like 4 years ago. They're gone. They never came back.
Incredible. So carbon is it's probably one of the most abundant things in the universe. Can you talk on the safety of it and how this Carbon-60 is different from other C-60s on the market when it comes to purity?
Well, we had our Carbon-60 tested. We brought it to the university level, and they tested on live rat brains, and they observed no evidence of toxicity. Now, there is a difference between our Carbon-60, the way we produce it. We produce it much, different than anybody else in the world. Most other people, they'll take 2 carbon rods and burn the rods of unknown impurities. There's impurities in the rods. And then they'll make about, by rand, they'll make about 10% soot. They'll make soot, and 10% of it will be Carbon-60. And then they'll put that into a solvent, like toluene, which is a gasoline solvent. And all the rods, cones, and tubes will float to the bottom, and the larger molecules of Carbon-70, Carbon-84, they'll float to the top. So they'll take that toluene out and dry it, and everything will come off, except for when they use heat to dry it, and some of the toluene will actually chemically bond to the Carbon-60 molecule and actually stay with it. And it's you can see it on a piece of, if you put it underneath the microscope, you can have a slide, and you can actually see that it's not black. It's kind of an amber color. We don't do it that way. We have a proprietary special process where we take something that has carbon in it, we strip everything else off of it, and everything else does come off, and we kind of reformulate it into a structure like this on a macro scale, and sort of develop it into a small focus point, and produce Carbon-60 molecules that are pure, clean. We have them tested by the mass spec time of flight, which is the same test technique that Smalley and Croto and Curl used when they got the Nobel Prize. So we have the same test method that they used, and it proves that it is Carbon-60, and the purity is it's very pure. The only contaminant we have is oxygen, and it's about 0.5% of oxygen in our raw Carbon-60 powder in that test tube. That was it.
So here we are looking at the actual Carbon-60, and it looks like yours is just so much smaller than theirs.
It's very much smaller. It's, we have more pictures on the website too. If you go back, you can scroll down and see that those ones that showed ours, they look like salt compared to something that's the size of an orange. And so that's a big difference. There's all, everybody else, that's a process that we developed. That is a difference that makes it, it's a food grade product. We're the only food grade Carbon-60 in the world. Um, there's Kathy Island there, we did an interview with her.
That's when I first started looking into C-60. It's like everyone would go ahead and it was all about how long you mixed and stirred it. You have to do all that for a week. You don't do any of that, do you?
No, we mix, ours is already fine nano size from the get-go. You can look at any piece of our, any powder that we make and put it under a microscope. You can't even see it. Even under a high-powered microscope, you can rarely get down to that small. So we just put it into the oil, and we don't mix it for hours. We don't grind our powder. We don't have to separate it. Most other people grind their powder, and they take those crystals and they break them into smaller crystals. It's like grinding rocks, basically, and they get smaller and smaller. But they don't get that small. They get down to about, at best, to 10 microns, and we're talking nanometers. There's a big difference between 10 microns and nanometers, about 1,000 times. And so we just mix it into the oil. We only mix it basically about 2 minutes compared to other people mix their crystalline carbon-60. They mix that about 2 weeks, and we mix ours 2 minutes.
I like that I like the oil you use. Is it sunflower oil?
Yeah, sunflower. Yeah, we studied various different oils. We took, the oil of, was a big oil. There was only 2 companies out there that were selling carbon-60 oil products when I started. I was the 3rd company, and that was carbon-60 olive oil out of Chico, California. And then there was out of Czechoslovakia was the other group. And so I looked at, and they were using various oils, so, olive oil, and I studied olive oils, and we tested them, and we were just going to have good luck with them. They go rancid very quickly.
Yeah, and because olive oil has that harsh kind of hit on the back of the throat, you just never really know, is it rancid or not. So, that's why I really like this. It just tastes clean and pure all the time. I'm looking out at hundreds of fruit trees, coconuts and durian, and my durian trees got flowers about to pop on them. And I had a mangosteen tree that these trees, I don't know if you know them, but it's a rare Southeast Asian fruit that can take 15 to 20 years to fruit. When I took the biochar, the charcoal, and I put that on the mangosteen, that was the first time it actually fruited. It's like a potash that is not really available in Hawaiian soils. And because it has that surface area, the microbial, as you know, the mycorrhizae inhabit that surface area, and then it starts producing its own sacs of fertilizer. So I'm just curious if you have knowledge of maybe a similar mechanism that it can do in our, as within, so without, and in our intestinal microbiome. Is there any benefit to, I know there's some benefit to taking charcoal. I'm just wondering if you've found much benefit in the GI tract from taking your carbon-60.
Well, we have anecdotal reports that people have called in and said, hey, my stomach feels fine, I take your product. We have about a 95% success rate that anybody tries it for anything. I know this sounds like snake oil, but it's snake oil and it works. That's the only difference. Just about anything. Most all health issues are caused by free radicals and missing electrons. You supply that electron back to it, there you go. It turns it back on. You're back in the game.
Fresh fruits and vegetables right out of the garden, fresh fruit from the tree has tons of that negatively charged hydrogen electrons. And once it's picked, it begins dissipating. And that's why lemon is so great. That's why you have so much energy from the vitamin C from the oranges right when you pick them. So that makes a lot of sense. But also, I was talking with David Wolf about this, who's also a big fan of your product. And, he's shifted his whole focus from nutrition to detox. And it makes a lot of sense that if you keep the channels clear and you're detoxing, which one of the hardest things to do is detox the lymph, because the lymph doesn't move itself, you have to move it. So this seems like something that could go deep and even get into the lymph.
Yeah, you could apply it topically over your lymph nodes, and it would penetrate through your skin and get into that gland, and you know, pull out the toxins. It doesn't really pull them out. It just negates the charge on them, so they have no affinity, so they don't have any reason to stick around, and then they'll just pass through the body.
Interesting. That's a really good point, because you know, a lot of people associate it with charcoal, which pulls toxins out, and where you have
Right.
that detox effect. And so, can you speak on that? Can you have a little bit of a cleansing reaction? Are people gonna, you know, get headaches and have a detox effect if they have a lot of buildup of toxins?
Not normally. That's very rare. Way less than 1% of the people notice a detox effect going on. You may notice, and excuse me, a discoloration in your stools the first day you try it, because you're putting a lot of those toxins. You know, we're subject to toxins in the air, food, and water. We can't get away from them. So they're in your body. So the first day you put there's over 100 billion carbon-60 molecules. They pass through your body, and it loosens most of the toxins. So now it mobilizes them in your body. So they just pass out. And then about 3 or 4 days later, people notice, they go, gosh, I have more energy. Those are the three main things we see from it. People have more energy, they have better health, and they have a stronger vitality. They just want to get up and do something. They have that energy back that they had once in their youth.
I'm so excited to get my bottle. I ordered it, and it should be here any day now. And I already went through one bottle, and what I did is just first thing in the morning, I just felt intuitively, I just reached for it and took it. And you know, is there any particular way to take it? Do you not want to take it? Do you waste it if you take it with food? How do you recommend people take it?
No, we recommend, it comes in a small 1 ounce bottle, a dropper bottle. And you just give it one good squeeze that's how we figured out how to dose it. We give one good squeeze of the rubber dropper and put it in your mouth, made it simple as possible.
I
And
kind of was swishing it around my mouth as well. Like, I'm sure it's good to get up in the teeth.
well, yeah, some people brush their teeth with it on their gums and helps their gums. People put it on toothaches, and they'll notice a toothache go away in about 2 minutes. Um,
Incredible. It just neutralizes all the stuckness and just lets things flow where they're supposed to go.
yeah. So we recommend a little over half a dropper, which is 2/3 of a milliliter, in the morning, with or without food. Um, and just put it in your mouth. And if you want to swish it out or leave it on your tongue, you don't really have to swallow it. It just kind of disappears.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of just disappear. I was always wanting to swallow it. That's funny you mentioned that. And it's like, it's just kind of, it's just gone.
Yeah, gone. Yeah. Yeah,
So
same thing on your skin. You can put it on your skin and notice it. You can watch it. You know, in a few minutes, it's pretty much gone.
our skin is the most absorbable part of our body, and people are still putting chlorine and all kinds of toxins, toxic stuff on it. So I'm really glad to have your product in stock now in our store, and we're offering up to 25% off. Right now, we're actually, at the time of filming this, we're doing a special for Father's Day to help do a man detox.
There you
And
go.
we're going to use your product for the man detox for Father's Day. But I really appreciate your time and your willingness to share with our audience here. And is there anything I missed? I mean, is there anything else you'd like
Well,
to share before
well,
we
yeah, I
wrap
think you
up?
hit on it. Like you say, 50 is, 70 is a new 50 with carbon-60, and you feel young again. I mean, have that energy. I mean, detox your body. That's probably the biggest thing it does, is removes those toxins out of the way so your body can operate more efficiently. We can't reverse we can't reverse time, the hand clock of time, but we can reverse the feel of getting old. The aches and pains, the joint pains, the creaks and everything seem to go away.
Well, this seems like a great tool in the arsenal of anti-aging. And I mean, just look at you. You're what, 90 years old, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding, guys.
No,
But
I'm 64.
wow, you're looking great for 64. So I think
Thank you.
that's a good testament. And this is just it's really exciting stuff, and I'm really glad to have had you on here. So enjoy, everyone, and thanks a lot. Bob, we'll be definitely chatting soon.
Okay, thanks, Guy. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.